Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the channel, Crafting and Crime Daily. This is the gate. Can't talk. Just spent the last 2 hours watching the sentencing of Adam Montgomery. This is a channel where I recap live trials. I covered the trial of Adam Montgomery. He was convicted by a jury for murdering his 5-year-old daughter, Harmony Montgomery, and this man carried this girl around for months after her murder in a red cooler, and then later on in this CMC bag. And the details of this case were quite revolting. He was also charged with assaulting her. The murder occurred on December 7th of 2019, but back in July of 2019, he was charged with assaulting Harmony, where he punched her in the face. She had a big old black eye. He had other charges: falsifying physical evidence, tampering with witnesses, and abuse of a corpse. So, at the start of this sentencing, the prosecution makes him an offer he cannot refuse. And I will say, he was not present during the trial, but he was present for this sentencing because he was mandated by the judge. You will be present. So he had one of those big old leather belts on, and his hands were handcuffed in front of him. But listen to what the prosecutor does.
If the defendant will right now tell us where he hid her body, sufficient for us to find her, if he'll tell us right now where he put that CMC bag, so that her family and the Manchester Police Department can recover her remains in the next 7 days, then the state would amend its recommendation to a minimum of 35 years to life, and let the second-degree assault, falsifying physical evidence, abuse of a corpse, and witness tampering sentences be served concurrent. But right now, Your Honor, if he tells us where we can recover her and we do so within the next 7 days, we will change our recommendation to 35 years.
Yep. Rejected. And then the defense, when they had an opportunity to speak later on, they pointed out that, he's maintaining his silence, his right to remain silent, constitutional right. And that it should not be inferred that he has lack of remorse because he remains silent. He's maintaining his plea of not guilty, but it was brought up here, and I totally forgot about this. During his trial, he admitted to 2 of these charges. He admitted to the murder, and he admitted to the assault on Harmony. All the rest. And he told the jury, go ahead, find me guilty on all that stuff. But in any case, now I may be wrong on which parts he admitted to and which parts he didn't admit to, but he admitted to some of these charges. So it's not like he's really not, he maintained his plea of not guilty, so he had to sit through this trial. But he tells the jury, go ahead, you can find me guilty, but I'm not guilty of the rest of that stuff. Okay. So he's maintaining his plea of not guilty. If he speaks, it'll affect his appellate rights. So he had to reject the offer. It was a sweetheart deal, 35 years, versus what he actually got. But first, we heard from the biological mom, Crystal Sorry. She got up and spoke, and very heartfelt. Her sister got up and spoke, and then finished her speech by saying, so mote it be. She's a witch. What? Okay. I'm like, what? Did I just hear that? Yes. So mote it be. Anyway, because she was asking for the maximum sentence, which is 45 years. Well, to life is the maximum sentence. 45 years to life is the maximum sentence. Anyway, then the victim advocate got up and she read a statement written by Kayla Montgomery, the one that was tagging along during all this, during the murder. She was the key witness. that her credibility was in the toilet. I didn't buy a word she said. I don't know exactly what happened to 5-year-old Harmony Montgomery, but I believe the two of them were responsible. But she got off light because she testified against him. And this whole letter talks about her and him and her kids and his kids. Nothing about Harmony. Nothing. Nothing about his murder of Harmony. Maybe I'll see you again, Mr. Montgomery. Maybe I won't. It sounds like she's still in love with this guy. Anyway, then we heard from a gay couple who I didn't know, Harmony had a brother. So they had both been together in and out of foster care, and he got adopted by these two men. And so the men got up and spoke about how they felt, what they were experiencing with their son, because he's always talking about her. He says that he sees her as an angel, and talks about it. It was so sweet. It was really, really sweet. And they were, anyway. Then we finally hear from the foster mother who took care of Harmony the most. We didn't hear from any grandparents. We didn't hear from any other relatives. Nobody spoke on behalf of Adam Montgomery. I didn't expect that they would. But in any case, the judge takes a 15-minute break. We come back and we get the sentencing. So here's the sentencing.
You took a human life, and you did so in the most callous and heartless of ways. You robbed a 5-year-old girl, your own daughter, of the life that she was to lead. You stole from your sons a sister. You took a daughter from her mother. You were convicted of reckless second-degree murder. Reckless in this context does not mean something that was an accident. It is defined under law as something that manifests the extreme indifference to a human life. Your extreme indifference to the value of human life is seen in so many of your actions in this case. In 2019, you beat Harmony. In the words of your uncle, her eye was fully black and blue like a raccoon eye, is what he said. Your words, when asked, were, quote, "I bashed her around the effing house." And then you hid her from the view of others, and you kept her from those that came to help her. On the date that you murdered her, you didn't hit her once. You punched her in the head repeatedly. You beat her in the car while at stoplights, more than one time. You knew that she was severely injured, yet you covered her with a blanket and didn't check on her until after you took her lifeless body from the car. And then, after her death, you treated her body like it was trash, worse than trash. You did unimaginable things to her body, and all in an effort to save yourself from being discovered as her murderer. And then, on top of that, you threatened, abused, and beat your wife to keep her silent. Your criminal history similarly reflects your extreme indifference to the value of human life. Your actions having taken both a physical and emotional toll on so many. In 2008, you were convicted of criminal threatening after pointing a knife at a 15-year-old girl. In 2010, you were convicted of armed robbery and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon in a home invasion incident in which it was reported that you held up a woman at gunpoint, terrorizing her to the point that she lost control of her bodily functions. In 2009, you were convicted of first-degree assault for stabbing another person. In 2014, you were convicted of assault and battery with a dangerous weapon and larceny in a case in which it was reported that you shot a man in the face. In 2019, you were convicted of 2 counts of armed career criminal, 2 counts of theft, and 2 counts of receiving stolen property, all of the charges stemming from the thefts of firearms, guns, exchanges of guns for drugs and money. The court has to consider 3 primary goals of sentencing: punishment, deterrence, and rehabilitation. The focus today is on your convictions in this case: second-degree murder, falsifying physical evidence, witness tampering, abuse of a corpse, and second-degree assault. But the prior convictions are important, and they're important as well as each of them reflects not just your extensive criminal conduct, but each of them represents an opportunity after sentencing for you to have changed the trajectory of your life, to change how you were treating other people. But you were either unwilling or unable to do so. And as a result, at this point, the court has the responsibility to impose a sentence that not only punishes you harshly for the crimes that you have committed, but considers deterrence, that is, how to keep you from hurting others. In light of the egregious nature of the crimes of which you have been convicted in this case, and taking into consideration your extremely violent criminal history, the court finds the only way to do this is to keep you off the streets. To the extent you seek to rehabilitate yourself, that will have to happen behind the prison walls. Harmony was an innocent 5-year-old girl. You treated her in the worst of possible ways, in both her life and in her death. Therefore, the court sentences you as follows. On charge ID 2027112C, the charge of second-degree murder, you are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than life nor less than 45 years. That sentence is stand committed. That sentence is consecutive. All of these sentences, I should say now, are consecutive to each other, as well as consecutive to docket 216-2022 CR 577, which are the sentences that you're currently serving. Additionally, you're to participate meaningfully and complete any counseling, treatment, or education programs as directed by the correctional authority or probation parole. Law enforcement agencies may return evidence to its rightful owner. You are ordered to be of good conduct and comply with all the terms of this sentence. This is also consecutive to the second-degree assault charge in the docket ending in 20. That is charge ID 1937947C. Do you have any questions about that sentence?
Nope.
On charge ID 2027113C, falsifying physical evidence, on this charge, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 7 years nor 3.5 years. This sentence is stand committed, consecutive to all of the other charges that I'm about to read you, as well as consecutive to the second-degree assault charge and the docket ending in 20 and the sentences that you are presently serving. You do have the obligation, as with the other sentences, to meaningfully participate in programming as directed by the correctional authority or probation parole. You're ordered to be of good conduct and comply with all the terms of that sentence. On the charge of tampering with witnesses and informants, you are sentenced to the New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 7 years nor less than 3.5 years. Again, this sentence is consecutive to the additional sentences that I've read to you that I'm reading to you in this case, as well as docket ending in 20 and the sentences that you are presently serving. You have the same obligations for participation in programming, and law enforcement may return evidence to its rightful owner. On the abuse of corpse charge, on this charge, you are sentenced to the maximum penalty of 12 months at the House of Correction. All of this sentence is suspended for 25 years. If it were to be imposed, it would be consecutive to the sentences that I read to you. And on this charge, you will also have the provision of a no contact order, and that is no contact with the Sorey family, the Miller family, and the Rafferty family. That sentence is also consecutive were it to be imposed to all of the other sentences in this case and the sentence you're currently serving. On the second-degree assault charge, charge ID 1937947C, you are sentenced to New Hampshire State Prison for not more than 8 years nor less than 4 years. This sentence is consecutive to the sentences in docket 216-2022 CR 2372. This is charge ID 1937947C. this charge, you have the additional requirement, as you have in the other cases, to meaningfully participate in programming. Law enforcement agencies may return evidence to its rightful owner, and you're obligated to be of good behavior and comply with all the terms of the sentence. Do you have any question about those sentences?
No, I do not.
All right, before you go, counsel approach, please. The sentences that I just reviewed with you, Mr. Montgomery, are imposed in light of the extended period of incarceration. The court will also make the finding that you do not have an ability to pay your attorney's fees, so there will not be an obligation for those in these matters. The clerk will now address you regarding sentence review.
Mr. Montgomery, you are hereby notified that you have the right to apply for review of the state prison sentence imposed on you on May 9th, 2024. The application may be filed within 30 days after the date of the sentence, but not thereafter except for good cause shown. If you file such an application, your sentence will be reviewed by a board of 3 members who will be either judicial referees and/or superior court judges. Review of the sentence may result in a decrease or increase of the minimum or maximum term within the limits fixed by law, or there may be no change in the sentence. A form for making application, if you wish to do so, is set forth below. Mr. Montgomery, this applies for both cases 216-2022 CR 20 and 216-2022 CR 2372. I'll leave those with you.
Do you want to sign them now? Yeah.
Anything further for the state?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything further from you, Attorney Smith?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Can you believe his prior criminal record? What in the yeah. And I like that she pointed out that you had all of these opportunities to make good with your life and you didn't do it. Every time you got sentenced for one of these other prior crimes, you could have changed your life. You didn't do it. We got to get you off the streets, mister. I don't disagree with that. So the breakdown is that everything is going to run consecutive. Like when you finish one sentence, you could go to the next. So 45 years, followed by a minimum of 4 years, followed by a minimum of 3.5, and then another 3.5. Yeah. So at 56 years by my math, and my math is terrible. So, but a good long time, Mr. Montgomery. C'est la vie. That's the sentencing. I'll see you guys tomorrow in the continuation of the trial of Chad Daybell. Take care.